What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Gridiron Buzz. I am your host, Daniel, and this is your co-host, Scott, and we are your premier destination for football. Let's jump into the Week 14 recap, starting off with some of the good games that happened this week. Starting off with the Thursday night showdown, the Green Bay Packers lost to the Lions 31-34 in a shell-shock finish. Great game. Great game overall. Was definitely a tight game all the way through. Next game we have here is the Jets losing to the Dolphins 26-32. Here's a stat for you. It's like the last 4 seasons, apparently, the Jets have not won against Miami when Miami is home. Also, a stat that this is the first time the Jets have scored a touchdown against Miami in Miami since before Zach Wilson was drafted. So that's a crazy line for you. Next thing is the Bills losing to the Rams 42-44. Wowsy.
Great game. I loved it.
Great game. And then another game I have on here is the Chargers losing to the Chiefs 17-19. That was another great game. Have any other games to add on to that, Scott?
Nope, no games for me.
Yeah, we had a
Sounds
lot of good games this week for sure. Yeah,
We're getting better and more tight. I mean, the playoffs are approaching, and some teams are trying to squeak in. So We'll see what happens in the final weeks. So,
without further ado, let's move into our studs and duds of the week. Scott, start us off with your stud players.
My 2 studs this week. Let's see here. We're going to go with he lost the game with Josh Allen, 22 for 347, or 22 for 34, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, 10 carries, 52 or 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just unbelievable performance. First time in history it's ever happened. But they lost 44-42. So
yeah.
My other stud is Sam Darnold, 22 for 28, 347, 5 touchdowns, 84.2 QBR. Got sacked 4 times. He looks like he's getting sacked a little bit more as the season moves on. But they both played 2 stellar performances out of 2 great players, I guess, for the season so far. So let's take it back to you and hear your 2 studs.
All right. Starting off, we both had this guy, Sam Darnold. Like you said, 347 passing yards, 5 total touchdowns. Great game for him. Like you said, Josh Allen also had a very good week. But instead, as my other stud, I have Jamar Chase on here. 177 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns.
That just doesn't seem uncommon for him anymore, so that's why he wasn't my stud. So,
well, when you're playing for a team that's not doing very good this year and you're doing things like that, I mean, it's pretty noticeable.
D. Higgins choked Monday night, so that's disappointing for me. So.
Yeah, had him on his fantasy roster. Not like we made the playoffs. But anyways, let's move into our stud teams of the week. Scott, who are your stud teams?
Let's see. I got to give it the Rams, 44 points. Just a great offensive.
That's a lot of points.
On the Bills. It's kind of games I like to see. Both defenses played extremely poorly. So, in my other stud, I'm going to go with the Lions with the 34-31 win. Their 11th win in a row, which is almost completely unfeasible in today's league. So 11 in a row is not bad, but the Eagles aren't far behind as well. So,
all right, here are my stud teams. I have the Minnesota Vikings. My oh my, did they pull it together this week? Sam Darnold, like we said, had a big week. And so did Jordan Addison, too. Big week for him.
Yeah, both of them big weeks. 3 touchdowns for Addison, 2 for Jefferson. So,
yeah.
Jefferson hasn't scored a touchdown in 7 weeks.
Wow. And when the offense is clicking like it was last week, that's some big threat to other NFC opponents, I'll tell you that. My other stud team is also an NFC team who didn't look terrible this week. The 49ers. They had a good week this week. Were able to come out with a W, and yeah, Deebo Samuel and Jawan Jennings. Great week for Jawan Jennings. He had 2 total touchdowns for 96 yards. Great game for him. Definitely one of the big reasons why the Niners were able to come out with the victory. Let's move on to the duds. Here are my players. Jaden Reed, 0 yards, no catches, 1 target. What happened? I do not know. I do not know. Definitely stunk it up considering every other week it looks like he had multiple targets and he's one of their best receivers on their squad. And for him to not do anything with the ball or even get the ball more than once, well, he didn't even get the ball once. He was looked at once. I mean, it's a little concerning. And then next, the entire Bears defense. You're playing a weak 49ers offense, and you let Jawan Jennings and Brock Purdy demolish you. I mean, we talked in the beginning, our first couple weeks, saying how good the Bears defense was, and they did not prove that they were anywhere near good this week. Scott, who are your dud
I also
players?
have Jaden Reed, 0 catches, 1 target. What is going on with that system right now? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. My other dud is Will Levis, 19 for 32, 168, 0 touchdowns. QBR rating of 20.6, sacked twice. Didn't look real good. So Tennessee doesn't look real good overall, but you know what? The quarterback's got to play better just to keep them in games. So, and they were playing a weak opponent as well. So those are
Yeah.
my 2 duds.
All right, here are my dud teams this week. Simple enough, the Bears and the Cardinals. Cardinals did not impress nobody this week, I'll tell you that much. Scott, who do you have?
My first dud's going to be the New York Jets. Offensively, great performance. Aaron Rodgers threw for 300+ yards. Their defense looked poor once again. That was supposed to be their solid part of their team was their defense, but it's been unstable for most of the season. So the Jets, and the other one is the Giants. Poor, sluggish on both sides of the ball. Didn't really move it. Just finally start to look from Malik Neighbors a little bit. He had 79 yards and 5 receptions, but got to do better than that, man. I mean, show some character, show you're playing with some heart, but it looks like some of these teams are starting to think about draft picks already. So
Indeed.
this week should be probably pretty much the same thing with some of the teams that just want to be. They're already out of the playoff race, so you'll see some. You won't see some stellar play. So, and we'll find out who's for real and who's fake. So, this week and the following week, because everybody's looking for that stellar draft pick, and they popped up. They showed some yesterday on one of the reports for the teams. Shedeur Sanders going to the Giants. I don't think he's going to want to play for the Giants. So
No, it's already been said. He's already said no to
they
that.
posted that yesterday, and that's not going to happen. So they could do a trade. So get two number ones probably. So or 3 number ones. So, but we'll see what happens
Well,
with that.
that's if they can even get number one.
Yeah.
They got to beat the Panthers for that. All right, let's move on to the pecking order of the week. All right, so we go from 10 to 1. Here are my top 10. I have the Broncos, followed by the Chargers, then the Ravens, Packers, Steelers, Bills, Vikings, Eagles, Chiefs, and the Lions. That's what I have. Scott, what do you think?
That sounds pretty good. Did you say the Seahawks at all or no?
Nope, I left the Seahawks out of it.
Okay.
I have them at 11 actually.
Okay. All right. No, it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. Yep. Broncos are just turning into a different type of monster right now, I'd say. Um,
Most of the top 10 will probably stay the same until the end of the season now. It looks like those teams are pretty
hmm
solid up top. So, I mean, maybe you
I mean,
change
if
from,
if the Ravens lose against the Giants, hypothetically,
well,
you
maybe you
don't think
change from
that
10 to
happens,
12,
but
something like that. That's the only way I
yeah.
could see changing. So, a lot of these teams are already so close to being in the playoffs already. So,
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on into the week 15 preview. Here are some of the games that I believe are going to be marquee matchups. Starting off with the Rams taking on the 49ers tonight. Thursday night football, baby. The California Showdown. What do I want? What do you want to call it? A California Dream, baby? Sure, go for it. Um, next, I have the Bills taking on the Lions. Another crazy showdown. Two teams that have already clinched the playoffs taking on each other. Um, obviously, the Bills are fighting for the number one seed, and the Lions are fighting to keep hold of their number one seed. And then finally, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Steelers. The Eagles are fighting for that number one seed, so the Eagles are going to want the Lions to lose to the Bills, but the Eagles have to beat the Steelers this week to continue on, and the Steelers are still fighting for that division title. Scott, have any games to add on?
yeah, I'd throw the Dolphins versus the Texans in. That could be an extremely good game. I mean, Dolphins aren't out of the playoff race yet. They've been winning the last couple weeks. I think they have 3 in a row or something. So,
Yeah, I think so too, but
also
do you know what
Green
their record is off your hand?
6-7, I think it is. Or
Hmm.
they I think it's 6-7. Let me check. Pretty
Think
sure.
so too.
Let's see.
Yeah, Dolphins are definitely a weird team this year.
Yep,
They're
6-7. So
finally starting to get Tyreek Hill the ball though. You see
yep,
that?
yep. I
Only
would throw
took them about 7 weeks.
the Packers at Seattle too is a big game too. So
Yeah, it's always a good matchup when those two face off. All right, let's move into the picks of the buzz. Scott, let's hear your picks.
first pick I'm gonna go with the Ravens over the Giants. The line was 14.5, and then it jumped to 16, back to 14. But I'm buying a point. I got her to 13.5, so that's what I'm taking. I'm also going to take the Texans minus 2 over the Dolphins, and I'm going to take Seattle plus 4 at home against Green Bay. Look like you buy points, you can take it the way it is, but every site now allows you to take a half a point or a point or point and a half or 2 points. So just gotta watch out when you get that bonus. If you get a bonus profit for the game, you can knock it down a point if you're not looking to.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. So and that's what I got. So how about yourself?
All right. So I have the Rams +3. Um, I think the Rams are coming. They're coming off a big win. Will they be tired after facing the
No,
Bills and it's a short
I
week?
mean they're
We'll
short week,
see.
and the
We'll
first
see.
matchup
But
they played against McCaffrey, I believe, too, and they beat him. So
yeah. But if they're going to try and make a stride to make the playoffs, I mean this is a
they
game
need
they
it.
have to win.
They need it now. So
Um,
both teams need it. So
exactly. Next I have the Bills at +2.5. Bills obviously in a must-win situation. If they're trying to go for number one, they've already clinched the playoffs, but they are taking on the Lions. Could be a very great showdown, and that's what I expect it to be. I expect it to probably be about a one-score game, a field goal or more. And then finally, I have the Cowboys at +2.5, and how they are not the favorite over Carolina is it's honestly ridiculous.
well, they're coming off
But
that almost win against the Eagles, probably too. That's why. So
mm, well, would it be the first team they were close to beating like they almost beat the Chiefs too.
Yeah, that
Lost
doesn't
by
make
two
any sense
points.
to me.
It's crazy
I think
how
teams
they're
don't play they played it down to the level. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs have won
probably.
more games by 3 or less points all season. So I mean,
Apparently they've won. I think it's a crazy stat, but
if,
it's like since last year they've been winning games by less than
hey, a win's a
one
win.
score.
So you can win by
Yeah.
1 point or that's it. So
Oh,
that's
100%,
and if Mahomes
100%.
has the
Or
ball
my
at the end
bad,
of the
one
game, he
score.
manages to go down the field and win the game for him. So that's what's
Yep.
even more amazing. So
Yep.
he doesn't have the
But
stats he's had in years past, but they still keep the win.
it's
So
true. It's true. But guys, those are our Gridiron Buzz picks of the week. Let's move into the Sunday Fun Day teams. Scott, start us off with your Sunday team.
all right, you got to give me a second here.
All right, giving him a second, guys. Giving him a second.
All right. Let's see. For my quarterback, I have Lamar Jackson playing at the Giants. Running back, Derrick Henry playing at the Giants. Another running back, Braylon Allen from the Jets. Uh, Wide receiver, I'm not sure if he's going to play. He's got an injured hip right now, so that may need to be changed. Malik Neighbors from the Giants. Uh, hopefully the Giants can put up some points this week.
We'll see.
Baltimore's defense isn't all that great against the pass, but who's starting quarterback for the Giants is a big question. So
It's probably going to be luck.
okay, wide receiver, Jaden Reed this week. He didn't do anything last week. Hopefully, he comes out and
It
scores
does something,
one or two
right?
touchdowns this week. I mean, that's just shocking. 0 receptions. So, wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. Uh, Tight end, Tucker Kraft from the Green Bay Packers. Another wide receiver didn't look like he had a bad week last week. Is one of the Bills, Matt Collins. So I think Detroit's passing defense is, I think it's ranked 30th in the NFL. So I think that game is going to be high scoring. I think Josh Allen may even be able to repeat what he did last week: three passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, definitely could.
He's an unstoppable force. So he's just unbelievable. And I'm going
And
with
if he can do that, they're saying that could be the Lions' kryptonite if you score over more than 40 points or saying. That's what they're
it's a
saying.
possibility. So, and I have the Pats defense. So, I think it's a decent lineup. I still have $200 remaining too in case Neighbors doesn't play. If he doesn't look like he's going to play, then I would expect the Ravens. I think the line jumped because of the quarterback change, and Neighbors may not play. So, if he doesn't play,
Oh
the
yeah.
Giants should not be able to keep this game close. This should be
Mm-mm.
absolute blowout by 20,
That's why
20
it's a 1 p.m. game.
23 plus easily. So. Because Lamar Jackson you can't stop him. They just can't stop. They're not going to be able to stop him. And they're 31st against the run. So, I mean, and Henry and Jackson could put up 3 touchdowns each if they have to. So, that's what I look forward to. So, there we go. There are my picks. How about you? How about your picks?
All right, starting off at quarterback, I have Bryce Young. Um, yeah, I mean, had a great week against the Eagles. And he hasn't been playing bad the past couple weeks, actually. I expect them to hopefully have a good game against the Cowboys, considering they're favorited. We'll see what happens. Going with old reliable at running back number 1, Saquon Barkley. He's been good for me. Next, going with Tracy Jr. That's the Giants running back, if you didn't know. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver. Harrison Jr. is my second wide receiver. And then I have DK Metcalf as my third receiver. Next, I have Isaiah Likely as my tight end. I expect him to get quite a bit of looks against the Giants. I think the Giants are going to focus heavy on Mark Andrews, considering Andrews has had a pretty good couple weeks. Next, at the flex option, I have Brian Thomas Jr., the speedy man. All they gotta do is look for him deep, and that's 1 touchdown. We'll see. And then I have the Patriots defense as well with $300 remaining. Don't think I'll make any changes. These guys are all pretty healthy, but like I said, we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, let's move into the news of the week. Yesterday, Bill Belichick is going to be the head coach of UNC, the
Shocking.
University of North Carolina. That's pretty crazy. Whoever thought he'd go to college? I mean, you see the memes of him even recruiting the NFL players, looking for the slow guys and whatnot, and but we'll see what happens. He definitely has a reputation as an NFL head coach, and it looks like he's going to try and bring the interim offensive coordinator for the Raiders along with them to be the offensive coordinator for UNC. That could be crazy. Why you're bringing some NFL guys to go teach some college kids and bring them to the NFL? I mean, that's cool. Very cool. Um, is Bill trying to do it to get a foot back in the door for the NFL, even though he already kind of had one? I'm sure
Yeah, I'm
if he
sure there's a
stood
couple of
out,
teams that would hire him right now after the
yeah,
season. So,
I'm sure he would have found a job if he
because a
had
couple
waited. But
couple teams don't make coaching changes till after the season's over. A lot of them waited it out.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, maybe those teams that were waiting out weren't on his list.
unless you're the Bears and you just watch a coach made a huge, very bad decision at the end of the game and cost his team a
Mm-hmm.
possible field goal to
Yep.
win the game, or tie
Yep.
the game. So,
Against the Lions,
yeah, that's very disappointing. So,
one of your biggest rivals.
yes.
All right. That's it for the news, but I do have some, here are the teams that have clinched the playoffs already. Starting with the AFC, the Bills and the Chiefs are the two teams right now that have clinched the playoffs. Um, Pretty much expected. I think the only team that's not on there that was kind of expected to hopefully make the playoffs or even be close in the running to it would have been the Bengals, but yeah, they're not there yet, and I don't think they're gonna get there. Next, we have the NFC. The teams that have clinched are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Obviously, those two are fighting for the number one seed. Same with the Bills and Chiefs fighting for the number one seed in the AFC. But yeah, guys, that's all we got for you this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Gridiron Buzz. Scott, start us with your closing remarks.
Yep, you can find all of our picks and our fantasy picks at GIRIDIRONBuzz.com and our podcast at the social media outlets, the Gridiron Buzz, the Gridiron Buzz. Everyone, best of luck with your picks and your
Best of
fantasy
luck.
picks, and win some dough and enjoy your weekend.